It's on Zoom. In the Okay, let me tell you what it is. Sorry about that. All right, guys. So thank you for coming to team meeting. I know we had an awesome week and we're getting started. We're going to go ahead and get started with our panel. So Julianne, Meredith, and Philip, if you'll come up here. And we do have some audience on Zoom. So if you guys have anything, make sure you put it in the chat. And then we will throw this up online too. So mosey on down here slowly. Philip's walking as slow as he can. So anyways, thank you guys for taking time out of your day because I know that you guys are super busy. So we will start here. I did pull up the Rookie Real Estate Agent book here so that you could, you know where to go find it. So if you go on Keller Inc., you can buy this book. It's only $20. And our, go ahead. In resources. There's a book club, and then so if you go on Keller Inc., y'all, and you may not even know this exists because I just learned about it maybe a year ago. There are tons of resources on every single book that they've written, kind of book clubs or some of the resources that they talk about inside the book. So, anyways, go on there and kind of play around on Keller Inc. Where'd my phone go? Here it is. So we'll kind of start. Introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about like when you got started, and things like that before we get going, just in case people don't know who you are. Most people probably do, but just in case, it's going to go on YouTube. So go for it. Just be quiet and do it. Can people hear you?
My name's Philip. I got in the business at the tail end of 2023. What else was I supposed to be saying?
Production.
In 2023, I did 8 million. To date, I've done around 16.
Okay, perfect.
First year you did 8 million. Wow.
Not in 2023, in 2024.
2024, he did 8 million.
Sorry.
Wow, trying to lie to us. No, it's okay.
We all fudge numbers sometimes.
Yeah, welcome to real estate. We don't know the real numbers. I'm guessing.
All right, I am Julianne Carney, and I got into the business. I got my license October of 2016, and my first full year in real estate. It's been a minute, so I don't remember exactly the number. It was, I think, around 7 million-ish, something like that. I know it was 24 houses. That's all. I can't remember the
okay.
Though. And then current volume this last year was around 14 million.
Sweet.
Hi, I'm Meredith Bezina, and I started real estate in June of 2017. And I don't know my first like actual calendar year. I just know like my first year from June to June, I think I ended up selling 28 houses that year, maybe like right at around 9 million. But it really it's really all came together that second 6 months, not the first 6 months.
Thank you for telling everybody that.
That was the painful time of like, just keep going, even though it's not happening the way you want it to, or as fast or as quickly as you'd like for it to. So
I love that because I always tell the story about Philip, and when he first started, same thing. He was going at it for it was like 4 months in, and I was like, "You're killing it," and he was like, "I haven't made a single dollar." And then obviously it all kind of comes at once. So I think we have to remember that it's like nothing and then everything at one time.
Well, it's like the seeds you plant today will grow, but it takes a while for them to grow. It's just not. It's not a fast game.
It's not an oak tree as soon as you plant a seed.
Yeah.
Well, that's great thought. Or for us to remember. So looking back, since you have the mic, Meredith, let's start with you. Looking back on your first year, what were kind of those activities or habits that you think directly put you on the path to where you are now?
Well, I think I've shared this a lot, and I heard other top producing agents say this. You need to work at like an actual job that your employer expects you to come to the office and work and be dressed and keep a schedule. And so in the beginning, that's what I did. I showed up at the office every day. I actually thought that's what everyone did. I have since learned that's not true, but when I first started, I thought that was the expectation. I remember like I had to go pick up a child one time. I was like, Sarah, I'm so sorry. Like, I'm going to make these hours up. Like, I'm going to get back in there, and I don't want you to worry. Like, I'm I'm really committed. But I realized like hardly anybody does that. So, but I kept hearing people say, like, if you want to be successful in real estate, one, come to the office. If you come to the office consistently and you do the activities, so you can't just sit in the office all day and hope that the business will come to you. But if you pick up the phone and call people, and I just consistently keep doing that, you will. And then Sarah made me work open houses like every weekend. And it wasn't really an option either. And so, and I don't think I left the city of Memphis my entire first year of real estate because I was so scared if I left, somebody was going to call and say they wanted to buy a house and then I wasn't here. So I just stayed in the city. I was just like boots on the ground at all times.
For the record, she still doesn't like to leave Memphis.
I hate it. In fact, I'm so stressed about leaving Memphis again this week. I was like, this is not conducive to the way I do life or business. And I hate it. It's not easy. So anyway, those were like the habits that I started at the beginning that really helped, catapult my career.
Okay, I love that. Julianne.
So very similar to Meredith, I was here whenever I could be here. If there was a class being offered, I was in the seat. I did Ignite. I did Bold. If the opportunity was given, I was a stay-at-home mom for 14 years before I did this. So I needed to learn how to do this. And the only way to learn how to do this was to show up and hear from people who knew how to do this. And so those were my habits. Was if a class was offered, I was here. And I actually did Bold for the first time while getting my license. I was not licensed when I started. So it was like drinking from a fire hose. But I do feel like that set me up for success in kind of getting started out of the gates. And my very first, my sphere was great to me, but my very first listing was a for sale by owner that I called and ended up getting her listing and helping them buy. So it was doing the hard things that got me that first deal. And I'm still in connection with that family. I since helped them sell that house and they moved out of state. And recently I posted a picture of me putting my nameplate on my very first sign. And she was commenting, she was like, that was my house, wasn't it? Like, and to speak to that, like just staying in touch with my clients, like staying connected with them and staying in their lives. Those are part of my habits as well.
Yeah, I love that.
Remember his name.
Was it Scott?
No, because I couldn't because I wasn't licensed.
Yeah.
But that's what everybody else was doing, with Bold. And so once I could, and once I got that license, that's what I knew to do was calling FSBOs and then working open houses like that. And with FSBOs, I would just call them and be like, hey, I'm, learning the market and I've got, I want to know everything that's on the market, both listed and unlisted. Would you mind if I stop by to take a quick look at your house? And
I love that. Just coming from
like
just new. I really just am trying to learn the market.
Yeah, just very non-threatening.
Yeah. I love that. And y'all have that in common. You both took Bold before you ever sold a house.
I did. Yeah.
Okay. And which Bold starts tomorrow. So if you have never sold a house, go to First Step. It's free. What'd you say? With your what? Yeah.
And I learned so much from that. I mean, real estate is such a mindset game. So it's big on mindset. And I know the program's new now, so I'm excited to learn again because I think we keep growing. And as we know, markets change, so you can't just stop learning. But I also think like that was a really powerful way to start kind of catapult my career as well, was just learning the language and different aspects. Like I knew nothing really other than what Sarah had taught me, was just to pick up the phone and call. And the LP Mama script, I knew that. Okay. And I knew if I just would call people all day. So those were the things I knew to do. But Bold was also a big part, I think, of just a strategic way to help me get started.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, Philip, your first year.
Same and same.
Okay. Is there anything different that you did? And I can think of some things that other than calling. Yeah.
I would emphasize what Meredith said. I showed up here every day just like the job that I had just left. I would try to get here at the same time and leave at the same time as the job that I had just left. And if I ran out of stuff to do, I would find something to do. I would leave and go find something that I was hoping I would get a client from.
Like what?
Man, I flyered people's cars at Kroger. I did. It's the truth. I went and flyered this neighborhood that, like, Caleb Hall had a listing. I did an open house there. I really liked the neighborhood, and I went back the next week and put flyers all over their mailboxes. Don't do that, because
You're not
the
supposed to
HOA
do that.
president called Wheezy, and Wheezy was like, "You can't do that." And I was like, "Well, it's done now." So, am I in real trouble? And she was like, "No, just don't do it again." And I was like, "Okay, cool." But I mean, basically, I think we all kind of did the exact same things. We showed up, and I did. There was a time at one point where I was doing 4 open houses a weekend. I would do 2 on Saturday and 2 on Sunday, and in between them, I would give myself an hour to get from the first one to the second.
Mm-hmm.
So that was
Yeah. But I think you're discrediting like that is a lot of things that people don't do, or it's hard work.
that was the
It's
other thing.
easy, simple, not easy.
That was
Simple,
the other
not
thing
easy.
is that if you're new and you're listening to this, use your ignorance as your greatest weapon. I did not know that the interest rates was the highest they had ever been in 20 years when I got into the business. And I think other people were looking at me knowing that and being scared for me, but I was not scared. I read the book and it said do this, this, and this, and I just did those things, right? So yeah, use not knowing as a weapon.
Ignorance is bliss.
Yes, yeah.
This business, it has unlimited potential, and that's all you need to know about it. So I love that. Okay, so since you have the mic, you'll get the next question. What foundational kind of systems and processes did you put in early on from the start so that you could build kind of the business that you have now?
I can say 2 things. One was time blocking. I knew every day I was going to get here at 8:30. I was going to start calling people at 9 o'clock. And maybe at 11 I would stop. Maybe at 11 I would not stop. But I did that every single day in that room over there, unless Astrid beat me to it, right? And then the second thing was I got my first deal, and I did not do this on purpose, but I'm glad it happened. I got my first 4 deals in like 72 hours, and I didn't know how a deal worked. all I knew is that I had them, right? And the grace of God, because they probably all would have fell out because I didn't know what to do. I was sitting back like, oh, I'm waiting on a check now. And yeah, see, they lasted for a reason. So I was in a deal, and this Cedric Brooks, he was a KW agent, and 3 or 4 days had gone by. I had done nothing. And his TC calls me and says, "Hey, Philip, I noticed that I need this from you. Can you send it to me?" I'm like, "I don't know what that is. And who are you?" And she was like, "Well, I'm Cedric's transaction coordinator." I was like, "Okay, what do you do?" And she said, "Well, I handle all of the milestones, contract to close, and I help them get deals closed." And I said, "How much do you charge?" And she told me, and I said, "Well, could you do that for me?" And she was like, "Yeah, I'll do that for you." So the two things were like.
So can you get all these things you're asking me to get? Can you get it for me?
And I would recommend that if you want to have a big business, right, where you do a lot of deals, to delegate the admin stuff as early as you can.
So I can say, do as I say, not as I do on this.
Fair.
Because I did not know systems when I started. Like I didn't have systems when I started, and it did happen really fast where I was busy really fast. So like I never had that lull of
Oh, I should build this out a little bit.
yes, like
Mhm.
even putting it, it was the wild, wild west in my business. It was just going from the next thing to the next thing. And so systems have ever since have never been my strong suit. I don't think I had a database for 3 years, probably. Like, I don't know where all of those people went, like sticky notes everywhere, probably is how I kept up with it. So don't do that, is what I would say. I do have a database now. And like Philip said, leveraging help. I waited way too long to do that, to where I felt like I was drowning. And you cannot grow if you're not willing to step back and let somebody come alongside you. And so being willing to let go of some control and let somebody come alongside me was huge for me to be able to open up time to do other things. So
And have a life.
and hiring you bringing somebody on that is better at details like that than I am too. So knowing your weaknesses and bringing people in that fill those weaknesses.
I love that.
So y'all know I work with Sarah. So immediately I had a CRM, and that was all I did every day. So we used Follow Up Boss at that time, and every activity I did, I logged it in the system, and then I had a notebook. So she taught me to get a notebook. And so I tracked everything in that notebook, and I still use that notebook religiously. I'm scared to throw away my old notebooks because I just never know if I need to reference back to something that happened a month ago or 3 months ago. And sometimes my bag gets so heavy from the amount of notebooks I'm carrying around. So, but you have, like, I do think it's really important that you do have your database system and then whatever organizational system you need to track, because what I've learned too, the busier I get, if I don't write something down, I will forget. And that could be an age component as well, but we're not going to harp on that. Just know, like, you need to have like a system for writing it down, or like our phones can do everything. So if you talk to your phone and take notes or however you do it, you need to have an organizational, like,
Consistently
notation system that you use every day. And that you can track how am I doing with this? But if you don't have a database to, like, this is a compounding business. So the people you start with in the business will come back to you if you stay on top of them and can keep connecting with them in whatever way that works well for you. But if you don't have them in some sort of database system and then continue to follow up, I mean, that's all I did. And that's where all my business generated from in the beginning. And then the more you do, the more experience you gain, and the more people you talk to, you will continue to feed yourself and your business. The other thing I'll say about Bold, like, so we had to do 100 contacts a week when I did it in the beginning. It's not quite the same. You had to actually talk to people. And wow. I could not figure out how to get in front of as many people as possible. So I went to Panera and bought $30 cookie tray, and Sarah held it for me actually. And we walked around and I introduced myself to every person at Panera and offered them a cookie if they would let me give them my business card. And so I was able to get all my contacts that way, but you had to get your contacts. So anyway, you have to be bold enough to put yourself out there and do things like put your flyers all over cars. You have to be a little bit uncomfortable in this business to get more business.
Mm-hmm. Something too that I think, Philip, you didn't mention is when you first started, the reason I even thought you were crushing it was because how much you're posting on social media. And I know Julianne does a lot with that, but y'all, can you both speak about that? Because you did it so much that you were probably like, I'm probably getting on people's nerves, but they got to know because I need some business. Like, you were trying to feed your family. And Julianne has a pretty cool approach to marketing and social media too. So do you remember how much you used to post on socials? You don't do it as much anymore.
I don't.
Not as much as you did that first day.
Thank you.
No, you
Thank
do.
You
still post, but when you
mute
used to
me?
post like 5 times a day, you used to post a lot.
Did you mute me?
No, of course not. I like everything you post.
No. Okay.
Religiously.
So I'm social media age, I guess. When I was getting out of high school, there was Facebook. So I'm used to posting on social media, whether it's something funny or whatever, just whatever. So that was something I was just doing because I was used to doing it. But I did, and I shared this with my Ignite class both times. Is there was what my probably I think third or fourth deal that I got was because I had a friend in high school that I had not even spoken to. Matter of fact, we weren't even friends. She just sat in front of me in homeroom, right? Because her last name was Chambers and my last name was Blade. And I hopped in her inbox and I said, I will show you the message. I said, what are you doing? We hadn't talked to each other in 15 years. She said nothing. I said, let's buy a house. She said, okay. She said, okay, let's do it. I just did an application for a pre-approval, right? So, and I was like,
But you didn't know that.
you got no. I had no idea. But just making it a habit, posting something, whether it's personal, business, some kind of way. And I think that the post got better for me and they converted more for me once I was able to actually show wins. And so now the reason that I do post when I get things under contract and when they close is not necessarily to brag. And I honestly, it's uncomfortable for me because I do think that agents are going to think I'm trying to brag. But no, I just want people to know, like, hey, I'm selling houses. Please come do business.
I can do it for you. Yeah.
So social media has been a part of my business from the very beginning. That's the little blurb that I'm in the Rookie Real Estate, that book, the Real Estate Agent book is based on that, just not being a secret agent. And when I was getting my license, I remember our instructor, and I won't say which school I went to, but her saying, don't let anyone know you're new at this because they're not going to trust you with their greatest asset if they don't think you know what you're doing. And I was like, everybody knows that yesterday I was not a real estate agent. There is no secret to the fact that I am new at this. And so I just
You're like, how am I going to keep it a secret?
Yeah, like it's no fake.
You didn't know I've had my license since I was 15.
Yeah. So I just kind of embraced the fact that I was new, and I took my social media, my Facebook followers along that journey with me, like announcing, hey, this is what I'm doing, and taking pictures of myself with, studying for my exam alongside my daughter doing her math homework. And so all of the way that I like to incorporate social media is just showing real life stuff, because I think it's a great way for people to get to know who you are. But anyway, I just kind of took people along that. When I passed my exam, I celebrated, on Facebook that I had done that, and everyone celebrated with me that I did that. And so I kind of just got this following of people that just, I think, wanted to see me succeed in this new journey. And so they were willing to support me with their own business or referring business. So my sphere, I feel like, because I was honest and like, this is who I am and this is what I'm doing, and they knew who I was before that. So like a person of character before that,
they trusted Julianne.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so that's one thing that I just continue to try to do. I've scaled that a whole lot since then, but it's all about authenticity and showing who you are. Because if you show yourself to be one thing on social media, and then you show up at that appointment and that is not who you are, like, they can spot that from a million miles away. So you've got to be authentic in who you are, and show yourself to be a professional, but show yourself to be fun, show yourself to be funny, not everything I post is taking myself seriously. I mean, I've done posts of me wearing an 80s windbreaker. I've done, posts of me wearing a Ghostbusters costume. Sometimes it's a little out of the box, but it grabs attention. I had a client that came to me from that windbreaker that she thought it was funny, and she was like, Yeah. She was like, I think you would be fun. And so like, that is why she called me. And I wore that windbreaker to my closing with her. And the funny thing about that, it was my very first closing I ever did. One of my first ones with Local Mortgage.
Mhm.
And Chase showed up at that closing. First time he ever saw me was in that windbreaker. And I was like, this is cracking me up. This is all you know about me. It's me in this windbreaker.
He was like, you know what? I think you're fun.
Yeah,
That's cool.
yeah.
We're gonna have
So,
fun.
that's just what I would recommend is be authentic, but also like I also that first year showed myself doing activities, like
Mhm.
showing myself at an open house. I didn't have to say this isn't my open house because it wasn't, it just working an open house. This is what I'm doing today. This is a house I'm showing today. So showing yourself doing the activities so that people take you seriously as like, okay, she really is doing this. This isn't just a fleeting thing, or it's not just a hobby. So showing yourself doing the activity, show yourself being authentic. And I have both a personal Facebook page and a business Facebook page. And I do most of my business stuff on my business page, but I also let that trickle into my personal page too, because not everyone sees both. So I think there's like a 80-20 rule on your personal page, 80% personal, 20% business, but keep reminding people that you still do this.
I love that.
She didn't ask me for a reason.
Meredith, what did you just learn? No, I'm just kidding.
That's a great question, Linda. What I heard my colleagues saying is they're very intentional about their posts, and that's maybe something I could work on this next year.
I love it. And that's what they're kind of focusing on in bold.
No, I do think that's really good for me too.
I think it's going to be good. Yeah.
Maybe I can switch my mindset about posting.
Maybe I need to stop posting.
If you missed it on Zoom, he said maybe he should quit posting so he could be like Meredith when he grows up. Okay. Well, thank you, Mary. I think that's going to be great. Julianne, I'm going to go back to you just for a second because I know we referenced this book. And so then I just have one more question for everybody. What was this experience like of kind of, getting to be in the book and, hang out with Jay for a little while, I'm sure, or meet with his team, or what did that look like?
I wish I could say that I had a lovely talk with Jay over coffee.
With his team? Yeah.
It was more with his team. And I really have no idea how I got on the radar for it or how I ended up there. I did. And, but the team reached out with interview questions and I think they interviewed hundreds of agents across the country and what I had to say went with a topic is it's under the social media portion of the book.
Okay.
So, I think it was just it was just a cool thing to be able to be a part of it, but it wasn't a like direct communication with Jay himself.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome though. So, I mean, that's the power of the network, right? Is that he obviously looked at everybody in Keller Williams and you got to kind of be
it
in
was
this book.
based off of rookie numbers. There were a lot of rookie of the year people that were in there. And so I don't know if that's how I got
on the radar.
On the radar, but
yeah, that's awesome. Sorry, somebody's trying to call me. Let me ignore that for a second. Sorry, guys. Okay, so let's see. I guess we have two questions left. As the market and the industry continue to kind of change, what do you do intentionally to kind of reinvent yourself and stay a top producer year after year?
Well, I do think you have to change with the market. Like when a very large part of my business was my sphere. And when the rates went way, way up, everyone stopped buying and selling, including my sphere. And I didn't have outside resources to fill those gaps of what other ways can I get business outside of my sphere. Like most of what was out of my direct sphere was referrals from my sphere or like sign calls off of my listings that were from my sphere. There's a lot of direct connection. And so I went for 5 months without a closing because I had not put that in place in my business. And so I decided I needed to do something different. And that's when I went like headfirst into marketing and brought somebody alongside me that knew what they were doing, kind of like what I talked about earlier. When you know you're not strong in an area, find someone who is. And I jumped in with both feet into marketing, and ended up having a fantastic. I think it was
Overall
not
year.
one of my strongest years, but it would have been a really bad year if I had not
Pivoted.
If I had not pivoted. So when things change, you've got to change with it. And when you're not getting business the way you once were, you've got to find out other ways of doing that. And so that's been a big growth thing for me. It's been, I think 2023 is when I started really diving into social media marketing and making that my avenue. And I get direct business from that, from people who follow me that I didn't even know followed me, and calls from that. And it provides some credibility too, because it's a warm introduction.
Yeah, they already know you and like
Mhm.
you.
Yeah.
Kind of based on your
Yeah.
socials.
So just kind of finding a niche and committing to it.
I love that. Okay. Mayor, how have you kind of shifted with when things change, shifting what you do in your business?
So, well, it's been I think this is what we do. I think you sometimes you don't realize it's happening so quickly, even though people are telling you it is. But I think one of the biggest thing is like growing, learning, and how can you help your clients during that time. I think one of the biggest things for me was language and conversation, and how quickly we need to do that for our clients when things are not working out the way they want it to. And so I think that those are like skill sets that you master over time. As I said earlier, like when I started Bold, which was my first, 2 months in real estate, like that gave me a lot of tools of conversations and ways to talk with people. And then another big thing that I've had to really like continue to shift and grow with is, as the market changes, how do those conversations change, and how do I help guide my clients the best? Because just like Julianne said, like when you have to reinvent yourself and your business for whatever reason that is, the more that you master those things that you're working on, the faster you'll see the returns. And I was like 2 houses shy of selling 50 units last year. And I thought about it in reflection, and I was like, if I would have had a couple of harder conversations with people, I would have gotten those listings sold. And so really that was on me and not on my clients, because sometimes we give people too much grace to like learn the hard way in the market. And I've also had to find myself like having hard conversations when they were about to let me go because I didn't do it over here hard enough. So I think you have to learn that too. And those are just like skills that you acquire over time. But I think continually learning to do, like, have a hard conversation. Phil Jones, we did our whole
I was
team.
going to say, where do you get these conversations? Because right now people are, I mean, like in my head, I'm thinking like, where did you learn to have these different conversations as the market shifted? Like, what did you dive into?
Our whole team did like Phil Jones' book for the
great book. Read it.
Yeah. And we practiced it. So that was like one of the things that we talked about. Like we would have one of his, what's the name of that book?
Exactly What to Say.
Thank you. Exactly What to Say, obviously. So we would take one, like each week we would take one of his principles or his verbiage, and then we would practice ways to say that to clients, depending on what situations were. So when we would have conversation practice, I would say like, okay, here's a situation I have. Which one of these can I use to get the outcome that I know they need to do? Like the 3 options, or, if you're like me, and if you just, I'm one of those people, like if you start just saying things over and over, you'll find yourself saying it in other weird places too, that don't really apply to that. But I think that's the biggest thing, is like learning something, but then you have to practice it, because you're not going to be ready to use it in front of your clients if you don't. And sometimes I would just write it out. As I said, my list notations, like I would write out exactly what I was going to say to them to get the outcome that I wanted. So not just for what I wanted, but what I knew was best and right for them. You just have to help them get there sometimes. So to me, that's been one of the biggest things
So even
in reflection.
selling 48 houses last year, you still script practice,
Yes.
conversation
Practice. Yeah.
Excuse me.
We do. We do. I don't do it as regularly as I used to, but
When things change, you're like, I need to get some new
oh yeah
conversations.
And it might be just like calling a fellow colleague on the team and be like, I need to role play this with you. Like, you should never be afraid to do that. Like, that's part of what we do. So, and that's always been really helpful for me.
I love that. Philip?
I don't know that I'm the best person to ask because I have not been doing it long enough to actually see a shift.
Mm-hmm.
But my business did shift when I got a MAPS coach because my first year I was probably 80-20 buyer listing. And she was like, well, and I was tight. Okay. And the one of the first conversations my coach had with me was, we're about to flip that, right? Because for you to be a mega agent, and I told her I wanted to be a team leader, and she said, for you to do that, you have to be listing focused. And so it ties back into a lot of what Meredith said. I had kind of mastered the art of getting buyer expectations in line because I had run into it so much, but I had not gotten the art of like getting seller expectations in line. And honestly, it's harder, I believe, especially in this market, to get those expectations in line. And so what I found last year was that I was I call expires a lot. I was taking a lot of expireds and not having the hard conversation on the front end to find out if they were motivated enough to sell, to actually do what it was going to take to sell their homes. And then I would get, 45 days, 60 days, 90 days, 100 days in and find out that they weren't. And now I have to, somebody's firing somebody, right? And either it just depends on who's the most pissed off. If you're madder at me than I am at you, then you're firing me. But if I'm more frustrated with you, I'm firing you. And in 2026, I'm not doing that, right? When I go in on listing presentations, I'm having very honest conversations. If you need to net or want to net an amount of money that I cannot get for you, then I'm going to let you know that. I'm going to hit you with the Sarah Layson optionality. Hey, look, I will help you lease this thing, or we can try to find other avenues, but I'm not going to spend $200 on pictures and however much on a sign and open houses to find out in 4 months that we're not doing this thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So you dove into how do you you wanted to change your business and shift your business, and you got a coach and had those conversations and practice that.
Yes.
Because I know, obviously scenarios and how that works. And so a little bit of living and learning too, through like, okay, we're on the market for 4 months, but how do I not do that next time?
Like every single one of them.
Yeah.
And it's alignment with what their niche is.
Yes.
Which I don't think a lot of people, everybody tries to go solo and save money. And the reality is, if you don't have a coach or somebody to hold you accountable, your natural tendency is to not to do what you're intending to do. And you end up falling back or stagnant.
Yeah, 100%. So that's actually my last point, is obviously staying in those environments, like learning environments, masterminds, communities, coaching. What do you think has been the most impactful for your growth? And then after that, I want you to answer, what should agents know about the importance of kind of being in the right rooms and being in those environments? So start with that. What was the most impactful?
For me, coaching was. I've been in coaching since the very first day I signed papers. I sought Tia out because she was on the K-Score call when I got my license and started with her day one. If she was not around, I bothered Weezy. If Weezy was not around, I found my way to Josh Highsaw, right? Right. Yeah.
You got the real answer when you went to Josh Highsaw.
Yes. Yes. And then as soon as I had graduated out of productivity coaching, I probably did have maybe a month or two where I had no coaching. but Kim was on me like, go get a MAPS coach, go get a MAPS coach, and I did. So, and it pays. Listen, I don't like paying for it, but it does pay for itself. Mhm.
So what's the importance? What do you think new agents or agents who don't have the community or the environment need to know about getting in those rooms?
So to me, a coach is going to what my coaches have done for me is pushed me past where I was comfortable, because that's where the results are. If we as human beings are left to ourselves, we're going to stay where we feel safe and comfortable. And a lot of times you will not achieve what you want there. So am I answering your
Yes.
question? Okay.
Yes.
So that was the impact for me, was that I had two bulldog ladies who were pushing me at all times. And the one that I have now, I will come back to her thinking that I just did something great. And she'll say, okay, good. Now let's look. It's just like, can we take 1 minute? But no, she's not like that.
So that has evolved for me over the years. When I first started, I would say I used the resources that were in this office to do that, have that growth and have that training. When I started, the person who was over the new agent coaching program, I met with her individually. I went to the group. We had individual opportunities to meet with the productivity coach, and then we had group options as well. I did both. And I can remember, again, you don't know what you don't know. And I remember sitting down with her to map up what my goals were, because I started at the very end of a year. So going into this new year, what my goals were. And I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know what's normal. I don't know what, like, everything, like I had literally Googled how many homes does the average agent sell in 1 year? And Google had told me none, you know. So I was like, well, I got to go above that. I'm like, oh. And so I told her, I was like, so I'm shooting for 2. I was like, I am going above average. And she was like, I think we could do better than that. And like, I was like, okay. Like, I didn't know what I didn't know. And so that was my first goal, was 2. But putting in the, continuing to stay a part of those programs and getting the training helped you build the confidence to be able to go out and do the tasks that get you business. And so it was putting myself in the rooms with the people that knew how to do that. And I also remember them posting, Leslie, I think it was you posted what the awards from the year before, and what the Rookie of the Year's production was. Because again, I didn't know what a good production was. And Todd Adams was the Rookie of the Year before me. And I saw what his number was, and I was like, well, that's going to be my number. And I was like, I may not hit it, but if I go in that direction, at least I'm, going in the right direction. And I was able to be Rookie of the Year in the next year. And then after that, it was okay, looking at individual producers' numbers. And okay, if that's what the top individual producer did, then that's what my goal is going to be. So setting your goals high and then doing the activities that are required to be able to achieve those things, and to learn from the people who know how to do this better than you know how to do this, and spending time with them and being in those rooms.
So as you grow, you've hired different people to help you get to that next level.
So utilize what's here first. And then once you have been utilizing what's already been given to you, then I would say take it to the next step. And that's what I did. And it puts me in rooms with producers from all over the country. I go to masterminds with them, do online masterminds with them, but constantly trying to put myself in places with people who are well beyond where I am and where I want to be, and continuing to learn from them.
I love that.
It's really good. A lot of good nuggets she just said. I've always had a coach. So Sarah coached me from the very beginning. I mean, I knew that if I was given the right tools and systems and coaching, I felt like confident that I could be successful in this business. And so from the very beginning, she always, we had some good conversations, some really hard ones. And I remember just being like, oh my gosh, I do not want to have to call her, because if you're not hitting your marks, it's not really a fun conversation. And I've told this story, like I thought I was doing really well and I was like showing a lot of houses, but I hadn't made my calls. And she was like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, I've been out here in my car all day driving. She's like, I'm certain there's a parking lot that you could pull into and make those phone calls. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay. It's like a real no excuses kind of situation, huh? And she was like, I care about you and your family, and like you've gone all in on this. And so I'm not going to be easy on you, because that's not going to help you. So I think somebody that's going to push you and hold you accountable, but then also celebrate your wins, because she's just as big about doing that. That in the beginning for me was what I needed. And I think what Julianne said is so important. Like, you just need to be around people who have done it. And that's what I tried to do too. Like anytime there was a panel or somebody at the office, like I wanted to hear what they had to say, because they've already been there and done that. And it may not look the same anymore for them. Their business may have taken off, but I want to hear how they did it. So I think the more people that you can listen and learn from, the better you will become as you continue this journey too. And then you can never quit growing. We had a MAPS coach for 2 years, and that was brutal as well. And Corey and I both were like, I don't think I can keep taking these calls. Like, this is the worst day of the week. And yet our businesses just continued to grow. So I can tell you that like hard things don't always mean that it's going to be fun, but you're going to get where you want to go. And so it's important to have people, just like Philip said, that where you're like, okay, I did so well, she's going to celebrate me. And that they're like, okay, so next on the list. And I was just like, I haven't even had time to do the last 2 things you told me. Like, what am I supposed to do that? So anyway, I would just say continue growing, continue learning. If you haven't considered Bold, at least go to the first step, which is free, correct?
Free.
Yeah.
You guys, Scott is so good. I think you guys have heard him. Like, just the way he presents his language and verbiage is awesome. You will walk away and be so blessed from doing that. And I guarantee you, if you do it and you do what he says, like your business will grow. And I'm redoing it with you guys. I think I probably have some opportunities in my social media game. And so I'm going to really work on that too. So anyway,
So Bold is tomorrow at
Bold
9.
starts tomorrow. That's right.
And Meredith, who did 50 houses last year, is committed to the full 6 weeks.
Oh yeah.
She's going to be there every day.
Committed. And I'm just telling you, like, he is such a good coach, y'all. Like, it will be well worth it. I mean, we were both in there that first year, and we hadn't sold any houses. Zero.
Allie too.
He was like, call your past clients. I was like, who am I going to call? I just kept calling the same people.
You're like, done.
Whoever's in my Rolodex, I'll just call them again. And I would just laugh and be like, hey, it's Meredith. This is a business call. No, you haven't bought a house for me, but you will eventually.
I love that. Okay. Let me see. I don't think I have anything else, but I think the most important thing that you guys said is, first, all of you dug into what you already had, right? So we have all of the resources and the tools that you need here at Keller, and we have so many things that it's probably overwhelming, but just start with the one thing that makes you money every day, which is lead generation and talking to people. And then being in rooms where people will, especially in the Keller Williams network, honestly, people will, just because you're here, say like, sure, come here, I'll show you how to do it, right? So you could call someone I could call someone in California right now and say, hey, you're crushing it at this thing. Can you show me? And I've never had someone say, no, I'm not giving you my secrets, right? So there's no secrets here. You can learn from each other, and then make sure that you're in rooms and learning every day, because as the market shifts, or as you need to shift your business, kind of that growth is huge. So Sarah, did you want to mention anything?
No, I would just say we've got a path. Like if you're going to chunk it down, a lot of us didn't have this path. We have PCX now that is incredible. That will actually quiz you on your contracts. So if you haven't had that, you need to go do that. So PCX is the first step. Then it's Ignite, right? And then it's Bold. And then it's going to networking groups nationally so that you can, I mean, in Memphis, it's great. But when you go outside of Memphis and you see how big
of a world it is out there in real estate, and you also make referral connections, that is a great lead source for people, which is what they're all doing. So, I mean, there's a path. You just have to decide if you're going to commit to it or not.
One of the big ahas for me too, when I first went to like family reunion or mega camp, I don't remember which one, is like when you see those people on stage, I think it's one thing to see them on a video, but when you go in person and you see those people and you hear their stories, you're like, these are just normal people. And they have done incredible things. And I think Scott Toombs said it, like, no one is born and you're like, they've got everything they need to be a real estate agent. Like, look at them.
Look
Like,
at that baby.
they're obviously going to be a great, babies don't look, that there is no formula to be a perfect agent because anybody is capable of doing it. And I think when you tell yourself that and you know that, like, all of us are capable of doing whatever we want in this career. You just have to learn what to do and then go after it. So we're all able to achieve and accomplish anything we want. There's a path. Someone else has already done it. That's what's great too. Like, you can find someone else that's already done what you want to do and go after it and work hard.
What's the thing Gary says? Anybody can. Will you? Like, it's not that hard. It's like, here's the thing. Anyone can do it. Just will you do it? Because it's, like we said, not easy, but simple. Okay. Thank you guys so much for coming and taking time out of your busy days. This was the best conversation ever. So Darkus is having a broker open in Cordova. Please go support her. She's going to have lunch. And it's a beautiful house. So go get some content, even if you don't have a deal. Just like she said, even if it's not your open house, go take some pictures, go tour it, give her some feedback, eat some lunch, network with each other. But thank you guys for coming.
See you at Bold tomorrow.
Bye. Yes, see you at Bold, bright and early. And tomorrow's Tarnika's birthday. So
Also, a reminder that
yeah, go
a
ahead.
reminder that our awards are on the 26th of February. We did send out that invitation through paperless post, which came through a text message. And I did just learn that with the new Apple update, it might be auto filtering your text messages. So check your text spam for just in general, because it's auto filtering people you may know to that as well. So don't update your phone either. Maybe that.